Chapter 9, September, A Great Adventure. September 1st. The reason that you dance and sing is to make the audience feel like they're dancing and singing. As long as you're having fun with it and giving it 100%, they're going to feel that. Heath Ledger. This is exactly what it's about, leading by example. If we're having fun with whatever it is we're doing, no matter the activity or event, we are inviting people into that space of freedom, letting loose and overall fun with us. It might seem like an inadvertent invitation, but it is an invitation nonetheless. How so? Positivity is contagious. It's as simple as that. Now, the same can be said about negativity. It can also be contagious where people commiserate in a self-deprecating pity party to one-up each other into who has it worse in life. I'd rather stick with positivity as it will become a feedback loop in the best way. You're having fun, inspiring others to have fun, and when you see others having fun, it inspires you to continue to have fun, and then even more fun than we're having, and on and on and on. We crave connection as human beings, and dancing and singing is a great way to connect with both emotionally and physically with one another. So keep on dancing and singing with your whole heart and soul. You won't regret it, and no one else will either. September 2nd. I have to own something before I can say it, and I have to own it before I can sing it as well emotionally. I only enjoy acting and singing if I am believing what I'm doing. Gregory Harrison. Ain't that the truth, Gregory? As luck would have it, we're already delved into this topic of doing something with conviction, or as Mr. Harrison puts it, believing what I'm doing. If we don't fully believe in what we're singing about, then how can we expect others to do the same? To check out our 2 cents on this, feel free to head back to these dates in this book. January 29th, June 21st, July 15th and 29th, August 22nd and 31st. The 3 other books in this series, The Daily Verse, The Daily Chorus, and The Daily Bridge, touch upon this idea of doing something with conviction, fully embodying the lyrics and emotion behind a song. This can happen if the singer-songwriter resonates with the subject matter in such a way so as to internalize it and then bring it out into the world for others to be encouraged, inspired, and motivated to do the same. September 3rd. Some of the greatest sermons that have ever been preached were preached by the singing of a song. Spencer W. Kimball. Amazing stuff. Now, I'm not sure if Spencer means a literal singing of a song or in a metaphorical kind of way, like a speech that sounds very rhythmic, which is almost like a song in its performed manner. But at any rate, what a great way to think about a sermon, for the singing of a song. The first song that fits the bill which I can think of, is Amazing Grace. The lyrics to this song are, well, amazing. It tells a story that no one is perfect and that we can all change for the better if we are consciously aware that a change needs to be made. A second song that comes to mind is Make Me a Channel of Your Peace, which is also known as the Prayer of St. Francis. It's a prayer put to music, but can also be seen as a sermon talking about the importance of establishing an inner peace so as to bring that inner peace into the world at large. Again, this speaks to the idea of making the world a better place. And 2 other speeches, which can most certainly serve as sermons that aren't literal songs, but have a great rhythm to them, are Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, as well as Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. Both of these speak to the idea of making the world a better place as well. Notice the theme here. These sermons, through song and speech, were designed to encourage, inspire, and motivate us as human beings to become better versions of ourselves. Of course, there are countless other examples of sermons through song, as Spencer so eloquently puts it. But for the sake of brevity and saving paper, this is what pops out right away to me. The fact that there are so many examples of this is yet another reminder that people really connect with songs and music in a way that is so much deeper than bopping your head, tapping your feet, or dancing to a beat. September 4th. When I'm singing, it's like I'm at home, and music is a great healer. I think I'd have been a basket case if I hadn't been a singer, Lulu. The feeling of being at home and at peace is like no other. All is right in the world. Everything aligns for the betterment of your experience on earth. The stresses, anxieties, and worries vanish, and you feel safe and comfortable. Singing is most certainly a way to feel at home. I've had the pleasure of feeling like this through the work I do. I already stated in other days in this book, as well as on stage, in front of one person or in front of hundreds of thousands of people. Yes, I've experienced this on a small and large scale. I'm so in the moment when I am running an individual lesson, a small to mid-sized group session, performing at a winery, brewery, restaurant, club, bar, wedding, and any other music venue, as well as singing national anthem at a professional sporting event, that nothing else matters. It's all about how we can make the most out of the time we have, improving a little bit every second of every minute of every hour, every day, and so on. This same logic could be applied to life in general as well, and not just within the realm of music. In addition to this, playing music and or singing can provide us with a sense of feeling at home as well as being in the moment, but it can simultaneously heal our bodies and minds in the process. Music helps us let loose through the form of singing and dancing, connect with one another so we feel we are not so alone through the singing of lyrics and conversations about said artist or song with fellow fans and resonate with us even after we've stopped listening to a song. It can make us think of certain people in our lives, being thankful for their presence and friendship. After all, they don't call it playing music for no reason. It's because it's supposed to be a form of play, not a form of work. So let us treat it that way and let it fully envelop our entire being for the betterment of ourselves and in turn the betterment of the world around us. September 5th. English is like music. The English language is really fit for singing. The notes match the feelings and it makes sense. Ken Watanabe. Being that English is my first language, I'm a little biased towards this quote. I definitely feel the same way, but don't want to limit it to just the English language because there are some great songs in every language that exists, and some songs combine different languages to make for a really neat combination of words as well. The possibilities are vast. However, there is something about the English language that lends itself to a wonderful flow, if you will, through the right syllabic usage and rhythmic execution of words and phrases. For this reason alone, it is easy to see why Ken would say such a quote, and why songs in the English language are predominantly the most popular in the world. It's no accident, yet hard to put our fingers on exactly why. Maybe it's one of those things that isn't meant to be explained, but we somehow know inherently, instinctually to be true. In fact, when he says the notes match the feelings and it makes sense, that says it all.
September 6th. When I started to sing like myself as opposed to imitating Nat King Cole, which I had done for a while, when I started singing like Ray Charles, it had this spiritual and churchy, this religious or gospel sound. It had this holiness and preachy tone to it. It's very controversial. I got a lot of criticism for it. Ray Charles. It is a wonderful experience and adventure discovering something about yourself and just discovering things in general about life that you weren't expecting. I see it as a beautiful surprise. For me, it's okay to copy someone else when you're first starting out. You're in the process of truly finding your own voice in order to get your chops up, if you will. Mimicking or replicating what someone else does or is doing is a great way to do so. However, after a while, it not only starts to become mundane for you and anyone listening, but then hard to veer away from that since you've spent so much time singing or doing things just like this other person. Like we've spoken about in the past, the world has enough copycats, enough impersonators. Let's be original. And this is exactly what Ray did when he started to break away from imitating Nat Cole. Was this a risk? Of course, because people were accustomed to him singing a particular way, and seemingly all of a sudden that changed. Change is hard. Most people really don't like change. Why? Because it's out of the ordinary, maybe out of our comfort zones, and it takes some time getting used to, which requires more mental energy than usual. To branch out on your own is both a risky and exciting endeavor. Risky in the sense that you might fall flat on your face and be the recipient of harsh criticism. Exciting in the sense that you might create something amazing in the process that never existed before you had not stepped out on a limb in the first place. I've been saying this a lot lately. You never know until you try. Try something new. It's never too late to discover beauty and knowledge, as well as find a new passion and dream. Thank you for daring to be yourself, Mr. Charles. September 7th. Heaven resonates with one sings wholeheartedly. Toba Beta. I love the image behind this. All of heaven and every soul in it resonating and rejoicing in celebration because of you singing with your entire heart. There is a theory out there which suggests we will be singing for eternity once we enter heaven's gates after we pass on from this earth as well. So why not sing while we're here to practice for all of the eternal songs? Not only does heaven resonate when one sings wholeheartedly, but anyone who is in the singers, bands, choirs presence as well. In fact, the entire universe resonates and reverberates. To go into further detail on this idea of reverberation and resonation on Earth and its outermost atmosphere, feel free to check back to January 12th, July 8th. So let us keep on singing loud and proud to inspire those physically with us here and those with us in the spiritual realm.
September 8th, resistance is singing your mother's songs so the next generation will know them. Rivera's son. According to the Oxford Dictionary, the word resistance means refusal to accept or comply with something, the attempt to prevent something by action or argument. Number 2, the ability not to be affected by something, especially adversely. Now, I'm not sure what Rivera exactly means by this quote, but resistance is not the right word to start it off. Tradition is. I believe singing your grandmother's or grandfather's songs, for that matter, songs so the next generation will know them is a great idea to keep amazing music alive in a way that might not be kept alive otherwise. It's about passing down a tradition from one generation to the next for posterity's sake and honoring the generations before us in a special kind of way. I see it like this. The last thing I would want to happen is for great songs from our generation to fall by the wayside and just get lost in the shuffle for future generations. If we enjoyed them in some way, shape, or form, then there's a good chance younger people will as well. We owe it to the singer, the songwriter, and to our fellow brothers and sisters living now to keep the legacy of these songs going. September 9th, I'm very conscious of developing my singing technically and stylistically. I want it to become more individual, express more of me. That's my goal. These songs are steps along that way. Madeline Peru. This is great stuff all around. To be aware that you want to develop your singing in specific ways is a nod to being original, thoughtful, and overall creative. Self-awareness is not always the most apparent thing in the world, so kudos to you, Madeline, for being conscious in how you go about continually working on your craft of singing. And why wouldn't we want to be more individual and express more of ourselves? I can't think of a better way to go about finding your own unique singing voice and style as well as living life in general. I know I don't want to be like anyone else. For me, there is no greater goal to have as a musician and human being. The world has enough copycats in it. If everyone were the same and doing exactly the same things over and over again, life would be boring. Let's keep it fresh and exciting. Always taking on a new adventure. Keeping people guessing as well as yourself through singing and beyond. Be intentionally, unapologetically you. If anyone has a problem with it, it's on them, not you. September 10th. Singing is about telling a story. When you are on stage, you get to be your own self. When acting, you're someone else. Sabrina Carpenter. Singing most definitely is about telling a story. Whether you wrote the song or not, I believe it is a responsibility of the performer to tell the story of the words in the form of lyrics for anyone listening. This can mean holding back at certain points because it is an intimate part of the song lyrically. It can mean really singing loud and proud, projecting your voice at a powerful part of the song lyrically. It could mean so many other things in between as well. Being your own self is key to singing and just life in general, because there are plenty of impersonators and copycats of other artists and people to go around. Who wants another one? I know I don't. Not only this, but it behooves us to be ourselves because everyone else is already taken. And I know that as an artist, performer, and songwriter myself, the last thing I would want to be said about me is that he sounds just like so-and-so. Some may see it as a compliment to sound like someone else. And don't get me wrong, if someone were to say this about me during or after a performance, I would be honored and humbled by their words. However, in the long run, I would much rather be remembered for my originality as it pertains to performance of a song's lyrics. As far as being someone else when your acting goes, I would have to agree with that sentiment. I don't know if it is 100% accurate since I'm not an actor though, but I have this sense and intuition about acting that it would be the case, because when you say the lines scripted for you, you are doing it in character. Being in character means you are embodying the idea of someone else, not being yourself. September 11th. Singing is just another outlet to express what I feel and to show everyone who I really am. I really don't talk about my personal life that much in interviews because it's my life, but with music, the way I write explains who I am. Raven Simone. Amazing, Raven. Singing is not only just another outlet to express what you feel and show everyone who you really are, but I feel it's one of the best outlets we have at our disposal as human beings. Here's why. It is very easy to go down the slippery slope that is abusive behavior, physical or verbal, towards people, fall into the downward spiral that is drugs and or alcohol, or just bury your emotions deep down until a major blow-up, meltdown, or nervous breakdown happens when things don't go your way. For me, writing songs helps me flesh out whatever's going on emotionally and psychologically in a healthy way. I can do something constructive, productive, meaningful, and purpose-driven for myself, while others can appreciate for the same reasons and more as well. Of course, when I write songs, I sing them, so singing comes into the mix as a byproduct of writing said songs when feeling a particular way about an experience, relationship, or situation in life. Now, this doesn't have to be just for negative experiences, but I find for myself that I'm able to look at a negative or seemingly negative, less than ideal event and flip it on its head to find the positive element behind it through the process of songwriting. There's always two sides to every story, and if you are writing and then singing happy songs because you are in love, inspired by amazing friendships or experiences, and want to celebrate that with as many people as possible through singing, then by all means do that or continue doing that. So keep on explaining and expressing away through the art of singing, Raven, and we will do our best to follow suit. September 12th, and she sang Perhaps She'd Never Stop, for it was rather freeing, this blissful, empowered place where she was nothing but rhythm and resonance, Diana Hardy. Singing very much is a freeing, blissful, empowered experience. When we sing, we tend to let our guards down, embodying the lyrics of the song and bare our souls for anyone and everyone to see. It's not always the easiest to let go in this kind of way, putting yourself out there for others to criticize or champion. When we sing, we also create happiness and joy within ourselves and those listening, since singing releases all the feel-good chemicals and hormones in our brains and bodies. And lastly, when we sing, we can most certainly feel the power of the song and our performance of it, which can lead to increased confidence, encouraging us to continue singing again and again. The fact Diana says that the singer is nothing but rhythm and resonance when singing is an interesting observation as well. I would have to respectfully disagree, because I'm of the belief that you can't reduce the art and act of singing into just two words. Singing is much more, so much more, but definitely includes rhythm and resonance in it. For me, singing is a one-of-a-kind physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual experience, all wrapped into rhythm, resonance, heart and soul, projection, expression, passion, intimacy, courage, and a release to start. September 13th. Oh yes, I must sing, and so must you sing also. For all music is singing, and in music there is praise of life. Kenneth Leighton. We all must sing our own unique song throughout life, otherwise we would be living someone else's, whether it be literal songs in the form of music or metaphorical songs in the form of experiences, relationships, situations. We owe it to ourselves to sing our life songs, loud and proud. Now, when Kenneth says for all music is singing, this might not make much sense taken at face value. So let's dig a bit deeper and assume all music is singing. How can we visualize and describe this idea? Well, we have to think in terms of playing an instrument like we're singing musical notes through it. Sometimes the singing of musical notes through it is quite literal, singing through your mouth and throat or playing the kazoo. Sometimes the singing of musical notes comes through in how we play each specific note in a particular song. An example, a trumpet player pressing the knobs down and blowing into his or her instrument in such a way so as to create a unique experience through their playing. The same can be said for any instrument. It's not just in what we play, but in how we play it that allows us to sing through it. We could play all the right notes to Mary Had a Little Lamb, but if we do it lacking emotion, it will fall flat. We could also play all the right notes to Summer Over the Rainbow, but if we do it in a random manner with no rhythm behind it, the listener might have no idea what it is. There has to be a balance of playing, or a better way to say it is interpreting the correct notes while adding your own personal flair to it to make it your own. Again, the same can be said about life. We owe it to ourselves to live our lives in such a way to make the experience unique to us and not a copy of anyone else's life. It's not
just in what we do, but in how we do it. Do we live our lives in an excited, adventurous, joyous manner with a smile on our faces? Do we live it in a begrudging, woe is me, the world is out to get me way? Or do we have a little bit of both in our lives? There's something as wonderful as music. We're able to resonate literally and metaphorically with the idea of celebrating and praising life. Music just makes us feel like all is right in the world. Music and singing, for that matter, for the win.
September 14th, the choir is made up of many voices, including yours and mine. If one by one all go silent, then all that will be left to the soloist. Don't let a few loud determine the nature of the sound. It makes for poor harmony and diminishes the song. Vera Nazarian. This is so true and 100% applies to everyday life, not just in a choir or with music. A choir, just like a society, is made up of many people in it. Vera calls it voices, which is literally and metaphorically the case. Let us remember that in order for our voice to be heard, not only audibly through singing, but through speaking up for the things we believe in, as well as don't agree with, it is in our best interest to voice our thoughts and ideas through talking or the written word. If we don't voice our thoughts and ideas in a particular subject, then oftentimes it is seen as agreeing with whatever has been said is about to be introduced or will occur in the future. Even if we don't get our way or change someone's mind in the moment, we don't want to wonder, what if I just spoke up instead of bite my tongue? Now, of course, there are times when biting your tongue can be your best course of action, but not for every single debate, discussion, event, or situation. Sometimes the boat needs to be rocked in order to shake things up a bit and let others know where you stand on an issue. Otherwise, we may find ourselves in a place we don't want to be because we didn't have the courage to speak up in the moment. There's a fine line between being honest and being mean. So let us remember to be honest, but in a way that doesn't isolate, put down, or berate anyone else. To me, what makes the world go round is that everyone is unique and has their own thoughts and opinions. Many people come from different backgrounds and upbringings, and they, as well as you, might be able to teach or learn something you or they didn't know before having a conversation. This is also why it's important to share your beliefs or thoughts in a respectful way. It's all about communication so that everyone has a chance to have their voice heard, not just a few who are ready, willing, and able to speak up at any chance they get. September 15th, the human voice is the most beautiful instrument of all, the most moving, and even the greatest virtuoso in the world will never be able to give you even a fraction of the emotion that a beautiful voice can give you. That is our share of the divine, Anna Gavaldi. It is the most beautiful instrument of all, as well as the most moving, Anna. But why? Because every human voice is a little bit different from the next. So you're never going to get the same exact sound and timbre as anyone else. It is a testament to the fact that no matter how hard we try, we will never 100% sound like our fellow brother or sister. This is a beautiful thing, as we all have our own unique voice and story to share with the world. If everyone sounded the same, it might sound nice, but it would not be filled with color and harmony. The world would be in black and white instead of full technicolor. In essence, something would be missing. Singing can be done in so many different ways to begin with as well. Singing lead versus singing harmony. Singing loud and proud, projecting versus holding back in a more intimate kind of way. Singing with vibrato as opposed to singing lyrics straight on. And let's not forget singing in different accents, different languages, and in all the various genres that exist in the world. Each brings its own flair and dynamic element to the table. Now, don't get me wrong, a great guitarist, violinist, and insert any instrumentalist that is great at their craft here can be mesmerizing and inspiring all at once. This is not to diminish or discount their abilities, but there is something in the human voice that speaks to us in a way that other musical instruments just can't. It's the humanness in it, and the way that humanness is expressed in such a raw, visceral, and emotional way. September 16th, the piano and the singing are two equal things to me, maybe not inseparable, but very connected. You could say they are like two equal voices. Agnes Obel. Being that piano was the first traditional instrument many people who decided to take up music it is like the gateway to other instruments, in my opinion. Speaking from my own experience, I did not learn piano first, but rather third or fourth. However, when I started to learn piano, I quickly discovered that you can do many of the same things with your voice as far as singing goes. As one practice as simple as ascending and descending scales on the piano, the same can be done vocally to warm it up. Even practicing octave notes, the same can be done. For the beginner student, it's good to know where all the various notes are on the piano, and in doing so, you can explore low to middle to high notes, working your way from left to right on the instrument. And why not follow along with your voice to increase your overall range? Bottom line, the piano and the human voice are meant for each other. What's even cooler is that they can work independently of one another just fine, and then come together to complement each other in such a way that is unique to these two and no others. So let's keep on playing and singing along. September 17th, it's up to you to perfect that gift you've been given. Put your spirit into that song. Focus on the words that you are singing. Get into that experience that you were singing about and sing your heart out, Stevie Wonder. It really is up to us to perfect the gifts we've been given throughout life. For some of us, it is multiple gifts. For others, it is one gift. The hope is that we will discover whatever gift has been given to us during the course of our lives, and when we do, to use it for the greater good each and every day, pouring our hearts and souls into it without doubt or hesitation. For me, it has been the gift of music in its various forms. Songwriter, performing, singing, learning several instruments without knowing how to read music or any formal training. The great challenge and adventure of my musical journey has been to decipher what projects and areas to use music for the greater good is. I've laid out individuals and groups with developmental disabilities, those who struggle with drug and alcohol addictions, those who suffer from Alzheimer's, dementia, sick children, women who have experienced domestic abuse, as well as those on the poverty line / homeless. I've tried reaching out to organizations who support veterans, but haven't had any luck with turning that idea into fruition. When Stevie says, focus on the words you are singing, I see this as not only a literal reinforcement in the act of singing a song, fully embodying and resonating with the lyrics as you sing them, but also a metaphorical one in that you have the ability to dive real deep into whatever it is you are doing to try to bring about the greatest good for the most amount of people. Really get into it by studying everything you can get your hands and eyes on about that subject. You can do the same by reaching out to various groups, organizations, companies within that industry to create and maintain long-lasting working relationships. Why not put everything you have into it and use all the resources at your disposal? We only live once, so you might as well do it right by giving it your all, as they say. You don't want to be at the end of your life and ever have to wonder what if. September 18th, I think singing traditional country is wonderful because I'm bringing it to my generation and to the younger kids. Leanne rhymes. Leanne, you are so right. Singing songs in the genre you resonate with the most is the best thing you could do, not only for the current generation and to the next generation, but also to the generation ahead of you. With anything in life, if you have a passion for something, that energy can easily be seen in the work you do, and usually this work is for the greater good and for other people's benefits, not just your own. This is where the memorable moments in life happen. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do what you love, an example, singing, to show everyone who is willing to listen how much it means to you. In doing so, you increase the chance of inspiring, motivating, and encouraging others to want to follow in your footsteps, pursuing a path of inspiration all of their own, music-related or not. This kind of energy is contagious, and over the course of time will prove to be a positive feedback loop for many years to come. I know when I see a live performance of an artist who really cares about what they are doing and singing about, it inspires me to want to be a better singer, songwriter, and performer. Do you have a similar experience? September 19th, when singing, you need performing skills and a bit of imagination. You have to treasure the emotions and to not deviate from the color of the song while pouring your heart into it. Kim Tae-yoon. In order to deliver a unique, one-of-a-kind, memorable performance, you definitely need a good combination of performing skills and imagination when singing. Embodying the lyrics and mood of each song, as well as doing what's best for said song, is essential to singing with passion, intimacy, and conviction, so that the message can be heard in an emotional, heartfelt, honest way. Performing skills can vary from singer to singer, but generally, you want to be able to connect visually with the audience by looking around at them and moving around the stage, not singing 100% with your eyes closed, although at times this can be powerful, but not the entire time, looking down at the ground or jamming just with the band. You might think of it like stage presence. If you don't have any sort of stage presence, you'll lose people right out of the gate. And like most things in life, there has to be a healthy balance. You also want to have command melodically over the song and know the lyrics as much by heart as possible, so that there's no guessing as to what word or phrase is coming next. In other words, you have to fully embrace the story and believe in it. Then the performance will be delivered in a confident manner. People can smell it a mile away if you're not really into it, so let us not take for granted the wonderful ability to sing, perform, and inspire, encourage, motivate others to do the same. September 20th, in this music, the singing of the angels in harmony, the world has begun. For Iluvatar made visible the songs of the Aenir, and they beheld it as a light in the darkness. J.R.R. Tolkien. Without even knowing who Iluvatar or Aenir are, this quote still stands on a solid foundation. When people sing in harmony, or angels as J.R.R. puts it, a beautiful sound is created through the combination blending of voices and melodies at the same time. So we can deduce that something new has been created through the act and art of singing. An example, the world has begun. The same concept can be applied to any time a new thought or idea, innovation, or invention is made, known music-related or not. The old adage, two heads are better than one, comes to mind. Human beings come together in an honest, productive, do what's best for the idea kind of way. Amazing things can happen since egos are immediately removed from the equation. To bring something new and positive to the table is a true gift and blessing, and most certainly shines a light amidst the chaos, uncertainty, doubt, confusion, darkness, and evil in the world. We all have a light inside that we can let shine on everyone we meet and everything we do. Let us not forget to use that light, that positive force, to do the most good for the most amount of people. September 21st, singing in a storm silences thunder's threats. Matshona Duliweo. This short but poignant sentence packs a lot of punch. It's a great metaphor for life. I mean, when you really think about it, when we make light of things that are less than ideal, seemingly bad or negative, scary, stressful, like thunder, it lessens the burden, the seriousness of the situation, and helps us be in a more peaceful, loving, joyful, carefree state. Singing is a great way to be free and enjoy the moment rather than sink deeper into a darkness, depression, anxiety, or fear-based reaction. I have literally done this with my son as it pertains to a thunderstorm, too. When he was 2 to 3 years old, he used to become extremely frightened of lightning and thunder during a storm, mostly because he didn't know where the sound or the light was coming from outside of our house. Instead of trying to calm him down with words, I decided to put on the song Thunderstruck by AC/DC. In case you don't know, it is a fast-paced, driving rock and roll song that is fun to sing and play air guitar and drums to. Since then, he is not afraid of thunderstorms anymore and regularly asked to put the song on during a storm. We were able to turn a scary situation into a fun one by flipping it on its head through the act of singing and playing along to a song. Life throws curveballs and storms our way. Let us keep this kind of reframing in mind when we find ourselves in situations like this. We just might lessen the severity or hold they have on our emotions, thoughts, and feelings. September 22nd. Singing beautiful melodies is one thing, but to deliver the text so that people understand it, even in a foreign language, has to be worked at very hard. Maureen Foster. I would have to agree with this statement 100%. To sing beautiful melodies through song takes much practice over time to hone your craft of not only singing but also performing. Now, Maureen takes it a step further by saying to deliver the text so that people understand it. Even if a song is in English, the singer still has responsibility to convey the message of the lyrics in such a way as to make people believe in the subject matter. If done in a half-hearted, not paying attention, laissez-faire way, then not only will the melodies miss the mark, but the story will not be told in the way it was truly meant to. If a song is in a foreign language, then strap in tight. You have your work cut out for you. It's not a bad thing to have your work cut out for you, though, because then you really feel like you earn the respect of not only the fans, but your peers and anyone else in your inner and outer circles. To tell a story, to make people believe in what you were saying and singing about in a foreign language through the way you sing, passionate singing, embodying the lyrics, body movement, body language, physical movements, is no easy task. But if you are able to do so, then wow, you have made yourself irreplaceable and will most certainly go down as one of the best singers of all time. We're talking legendary status. Hello, whatever genre you sing in Hall of Fame, and welcome to Grammy City. September 23rd, I get the greatest feeling when I'm singing. It's otherworldly. Your feet are anchored into the earth and into this energy force that comes up through your feet and goes up the top of your head, and maybe you're holding hands with the angels of the stars. I have no idea. Cyndi Lauper. Singing is both of this world and otherworldly, as Cyndi puts it. She provides a great visual in that our feet are anchored on earth when we are singing, so we know we are physically planted in the world. Not only that, but our voices and all the other sensations felt throughout the body when we sing immediately brings our awareness to being right here, right now, in a particular place. It's a tangible, human, concrete experience. At the same time, when I sing, I feel as if I am connected to something bigger than myself, something intangible, abstract, and divine. Call it the muse, call it tuning your antenna to be the channel for the music to come through me, or call it just miraculous. Singing melodies seemingly made up out of thin air is something very hard to describe. It's a wonderful experience of tapping into a force beyond myself, which I yearn for time and time again. I liken it to being in the flow state of the zone, and it's a place I want to live in for as long as possible. It's like heaven and earth coming together as one, or in other words, heaven on earth. September 24th, to sing means to sense and to affirm that the Spirit is real and that its glory is present. Abraham Joshua Heschel. What a beautiful way to put it. When we sing, we are most certainly tapping into a part of ourselves that is not just physical, but more existential, abstract, and divine, if you will. Even if you aren't a religious or spiritual person, you have to acknowledge the fact that as human beings, we all have good and evil inside of us and have a conscience to discern between the two. This conscience can be viewed or referred to as the inner voice of our soul or spirit. It is a guiding force that can lead us down the path of light and goodness or off the cliff of darkness and evil. If we are choosing to sing, we're most likely doing it because we are feeling some sort of emotion and would like to express it in an outward kind of way. Hopefully that emotion is a positive one, like happiness, joy, peace, inspiration, love, the goodness. In other words, affirming that the glory of our soul or spirit is real since we are allowing it to come forth in a positive way. How else can we describe singing? I mean, the melodies are somewhere floating in the air, enter into our conscious awareness of the brain and throats, physically and emotionally embodying them. It's like we're almost capturing lightning in a bottle, seemingly impossible and elusive, but can be done. From there, we are moved to hum or sing them for our own enjoyment as well as the enjoyment of others. September 25th, and if you're singing to someone or if they're singing along and suddenly you're in harmony, then it's actually making a huge difference on a subatomic level that is actually transforming the world. Jason Mraz. Wow, mind blown. If there is ever a mic drop moment, this is it. The fact that one can be in literal and metaphorical harmony with someone else is already amazing in and of itself. Jason goes a step further and talks about being connected on a subatomic level. But there's a lot of research out there which backs up the idea that our cells literally resonate and reverberate along to music. This positivity can have both short-term and long-term benefits for producing more good cells than bad cells, which is exactly what we want to live a long and healthy life. Extrapolating this into the world at large in a broader sense, when our cells are in harmony with one another, it makes us as human beings easier to get along with, so we are more likely to be in harmony with one another. This can only foster creativity, love, and peace, all good things most of us strive for throughout life. So it's not just some abstract idea that some singer-songwriter a musician came up with in their head. There are real, tangible, positive effects on the body and the soul when we as human beings are connected in any way, shape, or form, but especially through music. September 26th. If I'm singing something I don't like, it literally feels like I'm stepping on nails. Caitlin Rose. Well, there you have it. Even singing can be painful, both physically and emotionally. Like many people have said before, if you don't enjoy it, then don't do it. Life is too short to do things we don't like. Of course, there are things we have to do, like take care of and raise children, pay bills, do the laundry, clean the house. But if we are doing something that is more of a hobby and we discover that we don't like it, then stop doing it. There's no reason to continue doing something we don't find any kind of pleasure in. It just doesn't make sense. In fact, it seems downright silly. Why put yourself through it? So if you find yourself singing a song you don't fancy or belting out a song in a genre you don't resonate with, then let that be the last time you sing said song or in said genre. White knuckling it doesn't do anyone any good. Singing should be fun, enjoyable, and inspiring to not only the singer but those enjoying the performance as well. September 27th, it's like freedom of speech. They can't tell you not to do it. When no one will put you on at a club or venue, you can go to the street, just start singing, get a lot of good feedback from people as they walk by. I got really good at lip reading and seeing if a song is working. It was a good way to start. Andy Grammer. You've got that right, Andy. If a club, restaurant, winery, brewery, coffee house, concert venue, or any other live performance venue that exists doesn't want to book you for a performance, no big deal. All you have to do is take your instrument of choice, go out in the street, and play for the passerby. For those of you who don't know, it's called busking. Just open up your case to use as a tip jar or marketing sign and start doing your thing. As long as it is in a spot where there are no loitering signs and you aren't being too loud too late into the night, you should be completely fine. It could be on the sidewalk right outside of a venue, on the boardwalk, in a park, or wherever you can find space in a potential audience. Bottom line is to not be discouraged if you hear the word no. It just means it's an opportunity to try an alternative route or another way of doing something. By reframing it in this way, you are using the spirit of creativity and problem solving rather than disappointment and complaining. This spirit of creativity and problem solving will serve you much more throughout life. So keep on playing and singing on wherever and mostly whenever you can. You never know who might be passing by or stopping to take a listen. It could be an A&R representative from a major record label, the head DJ at a popular radio station, a social media phenomenon who has millions of followers and subscribers. September 28th. Singing brings out in me what I can't normally bring out in everyday life. It's an incredible feeling to be able to bare your soul to people you've never met in a way that can make them understand so clearly what you mean. That's what I love most about singing. It becomes my truest form of communication. Josh Groban. The first sentence almost says it all here. Singing brings out in me what I can't normally bring out in everyday life. Isn't that so true about singing and music in general? When we sing, we are expressing ourselves in such a visceral, vulnerable way, bearing our innermost self to the world through song in public. This is what makes it the truest form of communication as well, since you can't hide behind a screen in an anonymous manner. Singing is not an easy thing to do. It can be very scary and liberating at the same time. For me, the greatest thing about singing is that it not only makes a singer feel good in the present moment and in the future residual effects, but also the listener. It's one of the greatest feedback loops we have at our disposal as human beings. Inspiring ourselves while inspiring others, and then being inspired by others feeling inspired by you. Let's not forget the fact that when we tell a story through song, we connect to the lyrics and messages in such a way so as to invite the listener to connect with us. In other words, we don't feel so alone as this shared experience brings us together in a bonding moment. Even if you've never met or will ever meet every person in the world, you could still feel connected to something someone says or sings if it is said or sung with passion and conviction. September 29th. Sometimes when we are sad, we have to do the opposite of sad. Sometimes we have to sing. Daisy Whitney. I would argue that we should not only sing when we're sad sometimes, but all of the time. It is a foolproof way to pull us out of any sadness we may be experiencing at any given moment. I mean, it is inherent in its nature. On several occasions in this book and the 3 others in this series, we've gone over at length the positive impact music and singing has on us physically, emotionally, and psychologically. Singing releases all the feel-good hormones and chemicals in the brain, making us feel happy, joyful, and inspired. Singing helps us feel connected to something bigger than ourselves, which also pulls us out of a funk or a depression. As human beings, we crave connection of any kind, be it intellectually or physically. Singing helps improve our breathing and physical health by working out, exercising our core muscles, making us feel invincible. For these reasons and so much more, singing does the complete opposite of making us sad. It makes us feel like we are on cloud 9 and nothing can stop us from achieving our wildest dreams. So let us sing ourselves to happiness again, no matter what situation we may be in, good, bad, or ugly. September 30th. Writing is like singing. Everybody can sing. Only one has to find the pitch that will fit the voice. Same with writing, finding the pitch that will fit the thought. Psyche Roxax Mendoza. I do believe that writing is like singing for a few reasons. Number one, when you write, you really have to think about what you were saying before you write or type it out. The same goes for singing. You really have to think about what you were singing about before you sing it to embody the words and evoke the right emotion through your singing. When you write, you can most certainly get into a nice rhythm, whether it is writing lyrics, an essay, a short story, a book, or a screenplay. Rhythm is key to setting the scene and having it flow so the piece is easy to follow along with to encourage reading further. The same goes with singing. You have to be in rhythm with the music, otherwise the song won't sound right, and anyone listening will lose interest. Number 3, when you write, there is a definitive beginning, middle, and end. The same goes for singing, not only a full song, but every single word and phrase in a song. Number 4, last but not least, both writing and singing is like putting a puzzle together. When you write, you have to find the right words to put in the right order to tell a compelling story. When you sing, you have to sing the right words or lyrics in such a way so as to convey the message of the words or the story in a compelling way.